Hello, welcome to another edition of the Cryptic Mystic, and today is going to be a tutorial of a sort, really. I'm going to be talking about a particular type of wordplay and doing some crosswords that use that type of wordplay so we can all learn what to look out for. Now, the particular type of wordplay we're going to be looking at today is what a setter needs to do when they need you to either choose the initial letter or the last letter of a word, or remove the initial letter or the last letter of a word. So let's have a chat about that now. First things first, a cryptic crossword clue is made up of two parts. One part is a definition and the other part is wordplay. And the definition can occur at the beginning or the end of the clue. There's all sorts of types of wordplay that are used in cryptic crossword clues. And very often the setter will make up the answer from little parts of words. They need a way of say, selecting a single letter. You can't abbreviate every word in a dictionary. You can only abbreviate the words that have abbreviations. So maybe they need a letter S, for example, and whatever the surface of the clue that they're using, they can't use a word that's easily abbreviated. So how do they isolate that letter S so you can use it in the clue? This is where they use a type of wordplay, like an acrostic wordplay, really, where they use indicator words that indicate that you just need to take the initial letter. There's many words like this, and in this section, as I talk, I'll start scrolling through lots of different words. You can pause if you want to see what they are, but very common ones are initially, or at first, or start of. For example, if you see those phrases in a clue, the chances are you need to take the initial letter of the word that's before or after that wordplay. Now, what about if you need the end letter of a word? Well, just like they would use initially, and for end letters, they would go for words like ultimately, or finally, or in the end, for example. That would indicate you just need to use the last letter of a word. So you need to look out for this when you're reading the surfaces of clues. And then there's other times when a setter might want to remove the initial letter of a word. Let's say a synonym for a word in the clue, but without its initial letter. That's a very common type of wordplay as well. So how would they do that? They would indicate that usually using words like headless or decapitated. So you're literally taking the head off the word. Or if they want you to remove like the last letter of the synonym, they'll use words like endless, or my favorite, which is detailed. Because obviously detail can be read in two ways. You can be, detail can be something that's really talking about the details of something. But detailed, if you think about it another way, could actually mean removing the tail of something. So detailing a word, which is a very cool way, I think, of getting the last letter removed from a word. So with all that being said, now I'm going to go to a crossword by Melanie Branton. Melanie's got fantastic crosswords on crosshair.org. That focus on particular types of wordplay. And today we're going to be looking at one of her crosswords that basically highlights what I've been talking about, really. So it's going to be things that either have initial letters or end letters, or the initial letter removed or the end letter removed. So we have a go at that now. There are actually 3 crosswords, so I'm going to be doing each of them. I'll put links to all the crosswords in the video description as well, so you can play along if you like. But hopefully this is just highlighting one type of wordplay that you should look out for in your crosswords. Okay, let's get on with today's crossword then. Here we go. As you can see, it's a nice mini cryptic from Melanie. Literally 8 clues here, so we're going to go through them and hopefully it'll become a bit clearer the type of wordplay is in play here. So remember, we're looking either for things that indicate initial letters or last letters, or removing the initial letter or removing the last letter. So let's start with one across. In the beginning, oval rugby balls surprisingly were round balls. Now, what do you think there could be the wordplay indicator? And what do you think is the definition? Based on what we were talking about, if you look here, in the beginning, isn't that suggesting look at the start of something, isn't it? So this is probably the wordplay here, and which means maybe round balls or where round balls is the actual, or even just balls is the definition here. So in the beginning, what are we looking at here? We're looking at in the beginning letter of the following words: oval, rugby, balls, and surprisingly. Look, if you do that, you end up with orbs. Can you see that? So there we go. That's a neat way of getting the initial letters of some of the words. We get orbs, meaning balls or round balls. See? Cool. Let's do 5 across now then. To start with, very eminent Republican attorney is a woman. There you go. What's happening there? Where do you think the indicator is? That's right. It's here, isn't it? To start with. Can you see that? So it's saying, look, just use the starting parts of these words and the whole thing will give us a woman. So is here is like a link word. So we're using the starting letters of very eminent Republican attorney. And we end up with Vera. See? So you can see how it's handy, because obviously you can't always use words that can be abbreviated. Maybe it doesn't make any sense on the surface. So it's quite handy to have this device for setters to just pick initial letters or last letters. Right, let's go 6 across now. See, in the end, police stop paparazzi frolic. It's a long story. What do you think? What's happening here? That's right. Yeah, we're going for the last letter this time, aren't we? Because in the end here is indicating we're just looking at the last letter. So we're in the last letter of police, stop, paparazzi, and frolic. And it's a long story is the definition. A long story is a definition, and we end up with epic. See how that works? Cool. So what I'll do now, I'll switch to the downs now, so then we end up, we see most of the clues before we solve the whole thing. But let's try one down now. Look. Group of witches, not initially, making a cooker. Where's the wordplay there? Can you see that word there, initially? But what is it? It's not initially. So what's that saying? It's saying take the initial letter off of something. So what are we taking the initial letter off? Well, a group of witches. A synonym for a group of witches, we're removing the initial letter, and that's going to make a cooker. So the definition here is a cooker. Now, a common word for a group of witches is a coven, isn't it? We take off that C of the coven, we're left with oven. See? So this is one where we're removing the starting letter. Let's try 2 down. Endlessly transfer plant to another container. It's something that's being confiscated by bailiffs. What is that? What is that? What word do you think is the sort of cluey wordplay indicator there? Probably this word here, endlessly, isn't it? So we're taking the last letter off of something. And then the definition is going to be this end here. Probably something that's been confiscated by bailiffs is going to be the definition. So what are we endlessly? What are we taking the last letter off? We're taking the last letter of transfer plant to another container. What's a synonym for that? That would be repot, wouldn't it? So we're taking off the last letter of repot, and we end up with repo. See that? Nice, neat clue. Very nice, Melanie. Right, 3 down. Initially, brunch recipes including omelette provide energy. What do you think? What's the wordplay word there? Yeah, this is should hopefully you're getting this now because of the first few clues, but it's initially, isn't it? So what are we doing? We're taking the initial letters of brunch recipes, including omelette, and it will provide. So provide here is a link word between the wordplay and the definition, and it will provide a word meaning energy, and that is Rio. There we go. So we've got 2 clues left now. So let's just work them out before we fill in the last letter here. 4 down is bag made from ends of canvas, organza, cambric, silk. What a cool clue that is, eh? So what's happening there? We're making, the definition here looks like it's bag, and it's being made from. So that's the link word again between the definition and the wordplay. The ends of, so this ends of is literally referring to the words canvas, organza, cambric, and silk. So it's the last letter of canvas, organza, cambric, and silk. So it's S-A-C, and this is going to be a K here, isn't it? So going to give us sack, which means bag. See? And then 7 across. We already know this is a K now, but let's just work out how it works. So ultimately, Han Solo 2 drank in a cozy corner. What a nice clue to end with. So ultimately, there's that wordplay indicator again. We're looking for the last letters, aren't we? We're last letter of hand, solo, 2, and drank. And that gives us nook. See that? How nice is that? It's great that Melanie makes these crosswords actually, because then you can do have a lot of practice on this type of wordplay. So that's one crossword done. Would you want to do another one? Let's go for it, will we? It'll be a similar thing in terms of the wordplay. Let's see what Melanie has in store for us with this one. Right, so here we are at crossword number 2. Let's see how we get on with this one. Right, let's start again. One across. Ultimately opens wonderful cocoa shop, and it's a hit. What do you think's happening? What word is it? Yes, it's ultimately, isn't it? So we're looking at the last letter of opens wonderful cocoa shop, and that gives us slap, which means hit. You see the definitions at the end there? Nice. Next one, American shop not starting to produce rent. Now, what could that be? American shop not starting to produce rent. So not starting is the wordplay here, isn't it? So we're literally taking the initial letter off a word, probably for an American shop, because it's producing rent. This is a neat trick here, because rent obviously has quite a few meanings, doesn't it? That's the thing about cryptics. You have to think of the multiple meanings of words. Don't just take the meaning that's you're given from the surface, because that's invariably not the meaning you're looking for. So an American shop, Americans call shops stores, don't they? If you take off the initial letter of store, we're left with tore, which is the past tense of tear, which is also what rent can mean. If you rent your clothes, you're tearing them, aren't you? Very nice. Good. 6 across. Biblical character to tag, but not initially. A biblical character to tag, but not initially. There we have again, not initially. That means we're taking the initial letter off of something. We're taking an initial letter off of a biblical character. Oh, sorry, not a biblical character. We're taking the initial letter off of maybe a word to tag. The definition here, I think, is a biblical character. I'm just trying to think what that could be. Not sure. Let's come back to that one, will we? Let's do one down. Actually, let's do that. Beginning but no end for celebrity. So what's the wordplay going on here? The wordplay is no end. And for is usually a link word. Everything after the for is normally the definition. So we're looking for a word that means celebrity here. Which means the wordplay is beginning but no end. So I think we're looking for a word that means beginning, but we're taking the last letter off. That's what's happening here. So a word for beginning could be start. Take off a last letter, and we have star. See that? 2 down, let's go for that. The world doesn't start in part of your ear or part of your brain. The world doesn't start in part of your ear or part of your brain. So again, look through there. What do you think the wordplay is? I think it doesn't start, isn't it? I think that means remove the initial letter from something. Probably the word for the world. And it's either going to mean, this is like a double definition at the end here. It's going to be a word for part of your ear or part of your brain. So I'm thinking the world could be globe. Remove the initial letter, and we end up with lobe. See that? Like it? 3 down. Female horses without a leader conjure up the Greek war god. With nice surface. I see how you can use the wordplay indicators to make a nice surface. And without a leader, if you read that sort of as it sounds, you wouldn't necessarily, it's quite well disguised, isn't it? That you're meant to remove an initial letter. So we're taking the initial letter off a word for female horses this time. And conjure up is basically a nice link word. So we're saying this is the wordplay, and that equals the definition, a Greek war god. So a female horse is a mare, isn't it? So female horses is mares. If we take off the initial letter of mares, we end up with aris, I suppose is how you pronounce that. Greek war god. Lovely. So let's go back to our 6 across, will we? Hide ancient grain, but not at first. Oh no, sorry, that's not right. Here it is. Biblical character to tag, but not initially. Okay, the biblical character here must be able, isn't it? So, oh yeah, to tag is to label. And we're taking off the initial letter of label. And that's why we're getting able. See that? Very neat. Where we go 7 across then, what's this? The others start to read excellent scientific text. So here we have start to is telling us initial letter. I mean, strictly it probably should be starts to indicate more than one starting letter, but the definition here is going to be the others. So the initial letters of read excellent scientific text gives us rest. This is a T here, isn't it? So let's look at 4 down and see what that is. Hide ancient grain, but not at first. So his definition here is hide. But again, it's not hide as in to secrete something, it's hide as in skin. We're looking at a word for ancient grain, but we're taking off the first letter. So that ancient grain is going to be spelt, isn't it? Take off the initial letter, and we end up with pelt. How neat's that? Very, very good. So, Melanie has one more puzzle that's on the same lines. Will we do that as well and see how we get on? Now, hopefully, by the end of this, you will know what to look for or know what to do even when you see starts to or ultimately or final. Let's go to the third and final puzzle then. Okay, here we are at the final puzzle, our last of the trilogy of initials and endless and ultimate. Oh, the ultimate puzzle. I would say that because that's literally what the theme of this puzzle is, isn't it? So let's start again with 1 across. Kind end to one's solo bar project. Kind end to one's solo bar project. So what's happening there? I think end to is indicating the wordplay, isn't it? Definition is kind. We're looking at the last letter of one's solo bar project, and that's going to give us sort, which is kind. See that? Oh, let's go 5 across. The beginnings of pretty amorous intimate relationship for couple. Nice clue there, isn't it? Now hopefully by now you've started to spot what the wordplay is and where the definition. So where's the wordplay indicator? Yeah, the beginnings of. And the definition then is going to be couple. And 4 is going to be a link word. So we're looking at the beginning letters of pretty amorous intimate relationship, and that's going to give us pair, meaning couple. Okay. 6 across. Italian wine that's agitated endlessly. Italian wine that's agitated endlessly. What's that? So we're going to be looking here for a word and taking the last letter off the word. It's going to be a word for agitated, and it's going to give us an Italian wine. What do you think that is? I actually can't think of what the word is right now. I've gone blank. So I'm going to come back to that. Let's try 1 down. Endless involuntary contraction of muscle in health and beauty resorts. So endless there. Look at that. That's our wordplay indicator in it. So we're looking at involuntary contraction of muscle. And that's going to give us health and beauty resorts is going to be our definition here. So a spasm is an involuntary contraction of muscle, isn't it? So that's going to be take off the last letter of spasm, which is what endless is telling us to do. And we're going to end up with spaz. See that? 2 down. Grilled bread not initially found in the hop kiln. It's quite neat, these clues. I like how you can disguise the wordplay with, the surface, because not initially can be, it happens quite naturally in a sentence, doesn't it? So here we have a word for grilled bread, but we're taking off the initial letter, and that's going to give us a definition of something that's found in the hop kiln. So when we're making a beer or whatever, I suppose you roast the hops, don't you? And you end up with toast minus the T, which is what happened. Grilled bread is toast. Take off the T, and we end up with oast. See that? 3 down. Don't begin to put pen to paper in a religious ceremony. So don't begin to put pen to paper. So that means take off the initial letter of a word for to put pen to paper, and you'll get a religious ceremony. Now, to put pen to paper is what? That's to write, isn't it? Take off the W, write, and we end up with write, a religious ceremony. Last one, 4 down. This excursion is just endless nonsense. So where's the definition there? Where's the wordplay? Again, wordplay, endless. See that? So we're looking for a word for nonsense, and we're going to take off the last letter, and it's going to mean excursion. So tripe is a good word for nonsense, isn't it? So if we take off the last letter, we end up with trip. I won't put it in yet, just so we can look at the last couple of clues. But this is a P. So look at 6 across now. So 6 across is asti. That's the Italian wine. So that's agitated endlessly. So we need a word for agitated. We've taken the last letter off, and I can't think of what that word is. It means agitated. A stir. We're taking the R off, a stir, which means agitated, and it gives us our asti. That's a tricky one there, a stir. You don't say that word very often, do you? Cool. And last one, we know this is already a P here, 7 across, but let's look at it. The leaders of Slovenia, Tunisia, Estonia, and Portugal make a move forward. Lovely clue. Leaders of, that's our wordplay indicator. So we're looking at Slovenia, Tunisia, Estonia, and Portugal. The initial letters of those words will give us a move forward, which is a step. There we go. Brilliant stuff. So there we have. We've had 3 crosswords. Hopefully now you've got an idea, or more of an idea, of what to do when you come across this type of wordplay. Just keep an eye out for it, because there's usually some type of acrostic or looking at final letters wordplay in every crossword. Actually, it's because, like I said before, it's quite handy for setters if they want to just isolate a single letter, or use a synonym and remove one of the letters from it to make a word that they're looking for. It's quite a common device that they will use. So hopefully you find that useful. Please do like and subscribe and comment, and visit Melanie, and she's producing so many crosswords at the minute, and they're all fantastic for beginners to cryptics. So have a look on crosshair.org for Melanie. And if this is sort of whetted your appetite for making up a clue, this week's word of the week is agents. So if you can come up with a clue for agents, send it to me in my email here, and we'll feature it in the live stream I do on a Sunday at 8 p.m. This week's live stream as well, we're also going to try and create a cryptic crossword from scratch in a very short space of time, using everyone who's attending the live stream. So we're going to sort of crowd surf a cryptic crossword, not a 15 by 15 one, but maybe more of a 7 by 7 or something like that, or a 5 by 5. But it should be good fun. It's all about speed of making up a crossword clue. So yeah, come along at 8 o'clock on Sunday if you want to do that. But that's it in the meantime. So hopefully we've come to the end of this particular tutorial on how to find the ends or the beginnings of words, and I hope it's the start of your love affair with cryptics. Okay, see you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.